All right, just give me a moment. All right. Who is the prosecutor on Guzman? All right, so Marina is doing the transcript of the calls. So what is the update?
Thank you, Judge. Mariana Rios, interpreter. We are in the process of turning in this week about, I believe it's 9 or 10 more calls. We still have to finish with Mr. Froylan's case before we can move on to Eric. There were a total of about 110 calls that need to be transcribed and translated. We're just finishing Mr. Guzman's, then we're going to move on to Eric.
All right, so we're going to go on the record because I know this case is getting old and I want the record to be clear as to what's been happening. Court is calling, everyone please whisper. Court is calling 2022 CR 10958B, State of Texas versus Froylan Guzman Velasquez. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Jason Garrett, Your Honor.
Defense?
Rafael Leal for Froylan Guzman Velasquez.
And are you Mr. Guzman?
Yes.
All right, we have an interpreter here. If you could raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear and affirm you will faithfully translate from English into Spanish and Spanish into English, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
You can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record.
Carmen Tarragona Sáez.
All right. The reason why we're here today is to receive an update on the transcripts of jail visitation between your client and someone who allegedly was posing as an attorney. And both parties agreed, and I ordered that the transcripts be transcribed, but the transcripts not be given to the state until the court makes a determination of whether or not it's attorney-client privilege, and both parties agreed to that. Is that correct, state?
Yes,
Defense?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we have the person who's transcribing. Could you raise your right hand for me,
Yes,
please?
Your Honor.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Mariana Rios.
All right, can you give us an update on the transcription?
Yes, Your Honor. When the request for the transcripts were given to me, there were about 110 calls, some belonging to this defendant and some belonging to the other defendant, Eric. We started with this defendant, Mr. Froylan Guzman. We've done a total, I can't remember the numbers exactly, but I believe we still have about a little bit over 20 calls that are still need to be transcribed and translated. I can tell you that so far, the longest call has been about 25 minutes, which converts to about 25 hours of work for each call. We have to transcribe, we have to translate, we have to verify. There is some slang, some idioms, things like that we're going to have to research, and we've been researching. So that's taking us a little bit longer than, the regular transcription translation. So we still have about 20 some to go with Mr. Guzman, and then I have to move on to Eric. I believe Eric has about maybe 60 calls that need to be transcribed and translated.
All right, so if we reset this for the end of July, do you think with regards to Mr. Guzman, all of the calls will have been transcribed, or do you need more time than that?
I've been averaging about 10 calls per month. So if I still have 20 to go, 25 to go, probably August would be a better bet that I might be able to finish by July.
All right.
Yes.
So state, do you have any objection to moving this case for discovery of the transcript to the last week in August? Defense, any objection? Mr. Guzman, any objections?
No.
All right, so this is not a trial date. This date will make sure that you have the discovery with regards to your client's transcript. And then I know the other issue is the co-defendant's transcript and whether or not, one, that's attorney-client privilege. And if it's not, whether or not it's discoverable, if it's something that's potentially exculpatory with your client. So, this is going to take a little while. So, we can put it for the end of August. Is everyone okay with August 26th?
26?
Yes,
Yes.
state, August 26th?
Yes.
All right, and we'll put it at August 26th. Take your time. I'm not expecting you to have this case done and
Thank
that
you, Judge.
case done.
Thank you.
It's just for us to get some updates.
Definitely, yes.
And if there's no objection, instead of her having coming down, if you all are okay with her just sending me an email, what the update is, and then I can read it into the record. Is there any objection to that?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so we're gonna reset this for August 26th.
And for the interpreter, Your Honor, how often would you like those updates?
Oh, I don't want to interfere with your time because I
Okay.
know you have to go and interpret, and I know we took you away from a job. So for the August 26th date, if you'll just have an update for me the week prior,
Oh, okay.
that would be
Okay.
great.
That'll be great. No problem.
All right. All right, is there anything else before we close the record?
No, Your
Honor.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
My
Thank
pleasure,
you.
Judge. Thank you.
194, State of Texas versus Juan Garcia. Counsel, you're on this side. And could I, Zach, or,
Yes.
oh, continue to compose.
Okay.
All right. All right, could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Zach Dunn for the state.
Defense,
David Dilly, Your Honor.
and are you Juan Garcia?
Yes.
All right, we have an interpreter here. Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm you will faithfully translate from English into Spanish and from Spanish into English, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record.
Mariana Rios.
And counsel, do you speak Spanish?
I do, Your Honor.
And do you speak Spanish fluently?
I do, Your Honor.
And were you able to communicate with your client in the Spanish language?
I was, Your Honor.
Mr. Garcia, all of the documents I'm going to review with you are in English. Were those documents explained to you in Spanish?
Yes.
And probation, there's no application. Counsel, have you received all the discovery and did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Garcia, did you review the document entitled True Bill of Indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
The state is going to waive count one. State will also be waiving the enhancement language and only proceeding on count two.
Any objection?
No objections, Your Honor.
All right. Did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes.
Did you understand you're charged in count two with unauthorized use of a vehicle? That's a state jail felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes.
If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
He does, Your Honor.
Do you believe that he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
He is and he was, Your Honor.
According to the plea, the state is proceeding on count two. Punishment is to be assessed at 2 years in the state jail facility. The state is taking in consideration 2024 CR 0186, County Court Cause number 628350. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Sí.
Yes,
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
State?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Sí.
yes,
Then to offense in count 2, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Culpable.
guilty,
State any evidence.
Yes, Your Honor. State law first states one and attachments.
No objections, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Just one moment. All right, is there anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Yes, Your Honor. So my client has been in custody, in federal custody, actually. He's brought over from federal custody. He was sentenced to 6 years. He's been in custody since October the 14th, 2021. I believe the clerk of the court may have calculated the amount of time credit that he currently has. And so we respectfully request, and I have a copy of the judgment from federal court, going to present it to the court.
Yes.
That shows the date of the offense. I also have a docket sheet from the criminal case of the court would like to see it, where it indicates that my client has remained in custody since the date of his arrest on October the 14th, 2021 to the current date. My understanding is he has a total of 952 days credit if the court permits the same.
All right. Yes. All right, this is what the court will do. The court will find you guilty, sentence you to 2 years in the state jail facility. Give you credit for any time served. This will run concurrent with federal court number DR 21CR01800. And the court will give you credit for any time that this case was pending, that you were in federal custody. The court will take into consideration 2024 CR 0186 and 628350. There's to be no contact with Is there anything else with regards to sentencing from either side?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
None further defense, Your Honor.
Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Sí.
yes,
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. All right, we can go off the record. Here's the thing. You can't build your happiness off somebody else's misery. Stop stealing. You need to ask yourself, truthfully, is days in your life in custody worth stealing somebody's vehicle? You're gonna look up and half of your life is gonna be gone and it's gonna be spent in custody. So you need to start doing better. All right, good luck to you.
Your Honor, may I have the excuse?
Oh, they're gonna give you the dismissals.
We'll do your,
Yes.
I'll hang around.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
High school would be fun to redo again.
Yeah, that would be. Even college, well, the perspectives are so different now.
Oh, it is.
Do something totally different. I don't know. Maybe we'd be out. Stay in Innsbruck at that program.
I would still do it, but hopefully I would come back with the knowledge of the lottery numbers or invest in cell phones.
I'm telling you, so different. Good to see you though.
And I'll walk you through the plea.
Yes, ma'am.
Court is calling 2024 CR 5197, State of Texas versus Robert Sean Marble. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Marjorie Gilmo to the state.
Defense?
Attorney Bill Summers for defense.
And are you Mr. Marble?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have you received all the discovery and did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
State you're proceeding on the indictment as presented, correct?
Yes, Judge.
Did you understand that by indictment, you're charged with the offense of possession of a controlled substance, felony group 1, 4 grams to 200 grams? That's a second-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty, sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
He has, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
In my opinion, he does, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
In my opinion, he is and was, Your Honor.
The court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, there's an $800 fine. State recommends deferred adjudication. They're taking in consideration 725. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
State?
Yes, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 5 years. There be a TAP evaluation and 120 hours of community service restitution. Did you understand that's a recommendation from the state and the court does not have to follow it?
Yes, ma'am.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State, any evidence?
Your Honor, state offers state's exhibit number 1 and all attachments.
No objection.
You may continue to confirm. Did you review the waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial? Okay. A right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent.
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence state's exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, after reviewing state's exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, we would just pray that the court follow the plea agreement. I'll follow the plea agreement.
And Mr. Morrow, are you employed?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do?
Work for Uber and Lyft.
All right, here's the thing. I don't know if people want to hire you as an Uber or Lyft driver with this.
Excuse me?
I said, I don't know if people would want to hire you as an Uber or Lyft driver with these charges.
Uber.
Rhetorical question.
Oh, it's rhetorical. I'm sorry.
So, I mean, is Uber and Lyft aware of these charges?
Lyft actually, they ran my background and they terminated me. But Uber is keeping me.
Okay. All right, and then who is next to you?
That was a friend.
Do you have any children?
Yes, ma'am.
What are their ages?
I have a 14-year-old and a 11-year-old.
And who do they live with?
They live with their mother.
And is that here in Bear County?
Now they live in Arizona now.
So, drug use, how often are you using drugs?
Not often.
What is not often?
I mean, it's
Be honest.
just around the fence, maybe like a few times a month. Just when I get with friends.
All right, there's an $800 fine. It's going to be probated. There's to be no contact. There's to be no unsupervised contact with minors. Proof of employment within 30 days of release. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. TAP evaluation in custody. And do a referral to felony drug court. Follow TAP recommendations. Probation, if TAP recommends inpatient treatment, we'll start with intensive outpatient treatment. There should be 90 sober meetings in 90 days upon release. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. The UA hotline. Field visits. One time per month for 4 months. And at probation's discretion. 120 hours of community service restitution. I'm going to order parenting classes. Once parenting classes is complete, the community service hours will be deemed satisfied. Taking consideration 7. All right, your court costs are going to be approximately $380. Will you be able to pay that in installments?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And then there'll be restitution, if any, for drug testing. And counsel, if you feel as though the drug testing fee is too high and doesn't appear appropriate, then just let the court know. We can always have a hearing on that.
Okay.
Probation, is there anything else he needs? It is SAPD. Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
No, ma'am.
All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendants' Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. How old are you?
34.
All right, you're 34. You have 2 teenagers. They're supposed to be looking up to you. You're supposed to be stand up and be a parent in their life. And right now you're doing horribly wrong.
Well, ma'am, I had
Let's listen to the court. She didn't ask for comment.
sorry
If you
about
have a comment, she'll ask.
Okay.
So here's the thing. I don't know what you're about to say, but you're doing horribly wrong. Let me tell you how you're doing wrong. You're in custody. You're with somebody who you say is just a friend, somebody named me. I read the police report. She had warrants out of the, from a different county other than Bear County. That's the person you're hanging around with. And if you had contact with your children, and let's say it was your visitation, then guess what? She would have been around your children. So either you want to be a stand-up guy and be a father, because children need fathers in their lives, or either you're just some guy who's out here just having children and depending on somebody else to be their father figure and take care of them. You're going to have to change. Everybody starts off not where hopefully they intend to be. Everybody's trying to improve. So improve. You understand?
I understand, ma'am.
All right. If anything happens and you feel as though probation is not addressing it, you can always come back to court. You understand?
Okay.
And Judge, there's no space on him doing the tap in custody.
No, he's doing tap in custody.
So what that means is just.
Back on the record, I'm so sorry. Your term of deferred adjudication is 5 years. This is what happens when you're gone for a while. All right, could I see his phone again? LaShawn, you're on it. I'm still suffering jet lag. Oh, have evaluation 2 weeks, probation, felony drug court will be able to see you this week.
Yeah.
And if felony drug court accepts you, then they'll take over your probation.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm also really good.